Right, Denise Ford, Avon-Otakaro Forest Park.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me an opportunity to speak this afternoon. I'm, as I said, from the Avon-Otakaro Forest Park. As a group was created by a lot of like-minded people over 3 years ago, our vision was to see the red zone around the Avon River become a native forest and wetland park. So we've been actively promoting this idea as well as working on the ground doing ecological restoration. And we wish to see an increase in native biodiversity in our city. Christchurch may be the wetland capital of the country, which is a great thing in my mind, but however our city does not support the indigenous bush birds that are found in other cities such as Tui. To do this, we need our native trees such as totara and kahakatea, along with fruiting species to give a stable food source for these birds. We believe that our natural and cultural heritage should be an important part of the fabric of our city. It gives us a sense of belonging. Our flora and fauna is very unique and special, and we should all be able to see and enjoy it. In our submission, we propose that the City Council increases the spending on parks and heritage. There is much research that has been published about the health benefits, both of the physical and mental well-being of being in nature. We'd like to see funding targeted at increasing and protecting our Indigenous biodiversity in the city. An objective as stated in the district plan is to enhance and maintain Indigenous biodiversity. We've been running a monthly working bee at Horseshoe Lake Reserve, where for the last 2 years we've been planting and weeding. This initiative was started by a local resident who was red zoned in the area. Through our efforts, we've managed to plant at least over 1,500 plants and also tackle weeds such as old man's beard and blackberry. However, we're just volunteers. We're doing this in our own time, which is limited, and we have limited resources. We feel that this reserve has been neglected, even with the best efforts of the Christchurch City Council rangers, who are fantastic. While we appreciate the Council has allocated funding for boardwalk and track repairs, there seems to be no funding for planting or maintenance within the reserve itself. So weed control is a very important thing. If grey willow and other weeds such as old man's beard are not controlled, they have a bigger negative impact, and also it takes away years of restoration work prior to the quake and after the quake. A budget should be set aside for recording and monitoring the biodiversity area. How do we know what is in it if we don't look? We don't know if we don't look. We've seen much regeneration of native species in this reserve, which is a good thing. Horseshoe Lake Reserve, along with Travis Wetland, are incredibly important freshwater wetlands for biodiversity, flood control, and are well loved by Christchurch citizens. When we're working the reserve, it is common to hear the bellbird and fantails flitting around next to us. It's a very pleasant place to be. When looking at funding, I was concerned to see there was no funding for Travis Wetland, which is actually pretty dear to my heart as well, in the draft budget. I hope this just is a misunderstanding on my part. If not, the budget must be reinstated. The wetland is important to our city's biodiversity. Birds such as the bittern have nested there, and that is an endangered species, and there's very few of them left. And I think we should be waving the flag saying, hey, this is great, we've actually had this amazing bird breeding in our city, in an urban area. There is also marsh crake and spotted crake, which is pretty rare as well, and much diversity of insects, including the endemic species of the flightless crane fly. The partnership between the City Council, especially the rangers, and I can't say too much about them because they are wonderful. The partnership between the rangers and the Travis Wetland Trust is an exemplar of how the council and a community group can work together to achieve a combined goal. So the council, I believe, needs to support community groups such as ours and such as the Travis Wetland Trust for the wonderful work they do in these areas. We would like to see funding for the Avon-Otakaro Avon River Red Zone included in the long-term plan, especially in the proposed green spine. We have gained permission from LINZ to work with volunteers in the red zone, and we have sites where there's significant native vegetation that we have allowed natural regeneration to happen, as we haven't been allowed to plant because it's under Lynn's control. So we're allowing native regeneration to happen. In one of our sites especially, there was totara. There's, the seedlings coming up. So there is real scope in that area to let some native, some regeneration happening on its own. And we're also seeing there's ribbonwoods that are taller than me now, which is probably not such a big deal, but there's cabbage trees, kowhai and other species that are regenerating. So we wish to take on transitional projects to continue what we're doing in these sites, and we would like to have support. Like, as I said before, we are just a few people doing this work in our own time, and we would really like support from the council to help us in what we're doing. We talk about money, but there's also equipment, and there's plants, and moral support, I think, is really important as well. So we'd like to see support for groups like ours and others, be it in the red zone or reserves like Horseshoe Lake and Travis. Becklessley is another area that is crying out for restoration, to bring in that ex-residential land into salt marsh habitat, which is, the estuary has changed, we've lost some of that salt marsh habitat, so we've got an opportunity there at Bexley to bring that back. And we're also supportive of the sanctuary proposed by Colin Merck. So in conclusion, we wish the City Council in the long-term plan to allocate funding to increase native biodiversity in the city by supporting existing reserves such as Horseshoe Lake and Travis Wetland, supporting community groups who are actively involved in restoration. We would like to see the Council take a lead in the ecological restoration of the Otakaro Avon Red Zone and expand on the already good things that have been done by community groups such as ours and Avon Network. A forest wetland park in the red zone, connecting to the existing natural areas such as the estuary, Travis and Horseshoe Lake, will offer significant opportunities to fulfil policies and targets for both local and central government, such as zero carbon and climate change issues. And I'd also like to note we support the Estuary Trust and others who oppose the cycleway around the estuary edge. And we also, with Avon Network, we want backing to start planting in the red zone and to create wetlands, because we have this green spine and there's no better time to start than now to actually do something in that land. Thank you.
Thank you. Yanni, Vicky.
Thank you for your submission. I just want to ask you about something that was in it, but I don't think I heard you talk to, and I'm really glad that you've raised it, and that is around the LED lighting.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to get a bit more of an understanding around the alternatives and whether or not you've had any contact with our staff about what they are actually putting in.
No, I haven't actually. No, I haven't had any contact, but there are alternatives. I'm no expert on the subject, and there are alternatives to what is being planned. And Brian Patrick, who is an entomologist in the city, and he's very interested in Lepidoptera, which is your moths and butterflies. He has been doing work on those type of lights and the impacts that they have on, especially invertebrates. So, yeah.
I don't know, is there a process by which we can get that information and maybe get either the committee or the appropriate people looking at it? And this was a concern I raised when we went to agree to the switch.
Oh, good.
Was the environmental assessment on the ecology.
Yeah.
But I just don't know what we're doing in that space either.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's certainly research out there from overseas as well of the impacts of those type of LED lights.
Okay, cool.
Vicky?
Thank you very much for your submission. Just in relation to the planting of more natives, particularly in the red zone, are you actually allowed to go ahead and do that on Lynn's land now?
I haven't been given any, to say that we are allowed to. No, I'm not sure.
Have you got a person at Lynn's that you're actually working with, along with Otakaro Network and Regen, that would enable you to be able to do that? Because it seemed like quite a specific proposal that I'm not even sure if you're imagining planting them such that they're permanent, or planting them such
Well-
that they're shiftable if necessary?
Well, I have been told that, you know, that may not be permanent, so they could have to be removed, but I would hope after they've been there for 5 years that people may change their minds, so,
Yeah, I understand the reasoning, yep.
yeah, so, but, yeah.
So you haven't got a process by which you could get the go-ahead for that proposal?
No, we haven't, no, we're going to apply for a transitional land use, now that it's,
Apply to LINs
Yes,
for
yes.
a transitional
Yeah.
land use?
yes, and within that we will ask to be planting.
Great,
Yeah.
okay.
Right, thank you. All the best. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
When you do, Denise, are you aware of the Innovation and Sustainability Fund at the council?
Am I sorry?
Are you aware of the Innovation and Sustainability Fund at the council?
Yes, I have heard, yes.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Um,
When you get your permission.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.